What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, talk on why Lucid went down 7.2% today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So like I mentioned, 7.2% in the red. After hours is going up slightly, 1.26%, but very little volume, so not really much to talk on. Throughout the trading day though, there was 188.71 million shares being traded. 36.77 is the average. There was a couple of reasons why Lucid did go down. There was more bearish institutions coming out saying that the market has ran too much, is overextended. So a lot of people saw that and started to take profits because no doubtably Lucid, among a lot of other stocks, had a pretty sweet run over the last several days. So of course there was going to be a certain level of profit taking. So that's kind of what kicked off this right here, in addition to some other comments that did come out that I'm going to play for you in a second. But throughout the trading day, I feel like Lucid started to taper off and go down a little bit because of something that did come out from Lucid itself. So I'm going to go over all that. Like I mentioned, a ton of volume. These are some of the transactions that did occur, over $100,000 on the secondary market. A lot of transactions, majority of this is linked to options. So today there was that quadruple witching day. So one of the 4 days throughout the year, December the 15th was one of these days, or I guess today. And so there was going to be a lot of volatility. Options has been absolutely insane for Lucid. So no doubtably there was going to be a lot of volatility as a result. And then there was no actual news, no SEC filings, nothing like that that came out from Lucid, official stuff. This did come out throughout the trading day. So the December Electrify Your Holidays event. So this is going to be ran from now until December the 31st, on which they are offering special bonuses. So 2,000 Conquest credit bonus, a no charge Pro Sound and Pro Driver assistance bonus, and Lucid Home charging bonus of, it looks like $300. So once again, that's a fairly good thing. On a side note and flip side, whenever Lucid does come out with these type of promotions, a lot of people instantly assume that it's a demand issue, because in here they kind of allude to you clicking on the link and shows all the available vehicles, and a lot of them are air pure, saying that available in 2 weeks. And once again, I was always a very big fan of the pure, especially based on the price point, but the fact that they clearly have a surplus of them that they can actually offer it within 2 weeks isn't necessarily the best. And you can kind of see that they are offering that 7,500 air credit right here. There's a 7,500 air credit and also that 2,900 pro credit. The pro credit is just associated to this. In my opinion, I feel like this is just blown out of proportion. But in reality, I think it's just a lot of Tesla bulls take this information and say that Lucid has no demand and blah, blah, blah. So I think that's also aiding into everything. So there was a lot of things happening all at once today. And like I mentioned, there was some sentiment that was a little bit more bearish to start off with. So I'm going to play this video. It's only about 3 minutes long. I'll probably cut it a little bit earlier, but I think this puts it in perspective on truly what did happen and kickstarted all the fear from this morning.
We begin with the major averages trying to string together 7 straight weeks of gains. Fed Chair Jay Powell adding fuel to the rally after Wednesday's meeting, of course. But stocks giving up some gains after New York Fed President John Williams seemed to walk things back a bit on CNBC earlier today.
We aren't really talking about rate cuts right now. We're very focused on the question in front of us, which, as Chair Powell said, the question is, have we gotten monetary policy to a sufficiently restrictive stance in order to ensure that inflation comes back down to 2%? That's the question in front of us. That's what we've been really thinking about for the past 5 months, and I think we'll be continuing to think about for some time.
So yeah, basically this happened first thing, and this is what kick-started the fear, which led to profit taking and obviously Lucid, among other growth stocks, going down.
Joining me now are Ben Corby, co-head of investments at Thornburg Investment Management, and Chris Murphy, co-head of derivative strategy at Susquehanna. Welcome to you both. Ben, what do you make of Williams' comments this morning?
Hi, thanks for having me on the show. Look, I think if we're able to cut rates and avoid a recession, this current Fed administration is going to go down in history as one of the most successful Feds of all time. So let's see if we achieve it. but I think it would be a great outcome.
So why is he telling us not to think about that, or that they're not thinking about that yet?
Just because I think the other side, the left tail, is if we cut too soon and inflation reaccelerates, which is not a 0% risk, then we look a lot like the 1970s. And you go from being a hero as a Fed if you achieve a soft landing to being one of the worst Fed presidents over time if you reignite inflation on the other side.
Chris, I think it's telling the market action today, where we started in the red after those comments, but we fought back into positive territory.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's enough chasing left into the end of the year. You don't want to be underinvested. And, what do we really expect him to say this morning? I think the market, obviously judging by its reaction earlier this week, maybe got a little bit ahead of himself. So, I would expect the next, Fed person to come in and try to tamp things down a little bit. So really not a surprise at all.
I should clarify, too, the Dow and the NASDAQ are positive, the S&P and the Russell are negative, for what it's worth. Chris, we're also heading into a big event in a couple hours' time on the market close. They say it's the biggest option expiration ever. Should I worry about that? Or what is that, an opportunity, a risk, a fact, a quirk, what?
I think it's more of a non-factor at this point. And the reason being is, we're really concerned. We think that the expiration has a big impact when the market stays kind of in the same spot like it did for the second half of November and the beginning of December, and a lot of open interest builds up right around where the market's actually trading. And that was kind of the talking point for a couple of weeks heading up into Powell a couple days ago. Now we've ripped much higher. So what you have is a situation where much of the open interest, all of the puts, most of the calls are below where we're trading right now. So they're just not having as much of an impact.
Oh, interesting. So because of this market move, maybe it's a little bit less consequential than it would have been otherwise. Chris, let me also ask you just about the vigor of the move we've seen. Whatever metrics you prefer to look at, I don't know if you're big on overbought or bull bear consensus or, put call ratios, whatever it is. Do you see signs that we're overextended, or do you see signs that after a move like this, you want to keep positioning and kind of give this rally some credit?
No, we're definitely seeing signs that we're overextended,
So yeah, he didn't even hesitate. And so I think a lot of this video I wanted to play only because it kind of gives a good viewpoint on everything that happened to the broader market. And in Lucid's case, I think it got hit with everything. So the fear, profit taking, options activity, all just hit Lucid at once. So once again, I think that's kind of what happened. I'll give you an overview of some of the other data points that did happen today. So $1.71 million in calls being purchased versus $4.21 million in puts. So people are anticipating for it to continue to trend down. Of the call options that was purchased today, it looks like it kind of will be above 550 by the end of next week. I don't know if that will actually hold to be true, but I think there still is a lot more room in the broader market to continue to rally, but that's just my own opinion, not a financial advisor, of course. Looking at puts, it is anticipated to be sub $4.50 by the end of next week. So you can have both extremes. I'll break that down when I go over the technicals and whatnot. With shorts though, so shorts, it was kind of an interesting game. So yesterday they increased, was it 5 million shares or something like that? Yesterday and today they did return 2.39 million shares. Insane amount. So 29.35% of the free float's being shorted, 250.99 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow average kind of in line with yesterday, so 17.53%. And through Interactive Brokers, short availability does indicate that there's around 100,000 shares available to be shorted. So how I interpret this information with Lucid being sold off today and shorts returning some of their position shows that they feel that it's not really justified, that sell-off. So once again, this information is kind of bullish. The options activity is a little bit bearish. And when it comes down to the technicals, with it closing at 477, it is between this R1 and this R2. So far that $4.70 for the R1 did hold. So going into next week, that's going to be a very strong support. Vice versa, 499, which we did break past yesterday, that's going to be the next strong resistance that you'll want to watch for it to break above. Over the weekend, I'll do a video on everything to kind of watch for going into next week, but that's kind of what did happen. So the technicals broke down a little bit, but like I said, I think that had to do with profit taking and so many other things. Looking at momentum shows number of retail investors were getting out today, once again matching with that profit taking. Stochastic does have that nice bullish sentiment, so black line above the red, which does give it a little bit of hope going into next week for some continuation of momentum. And with it at 64, it's not really overbought, it's kind of neutral somewhat, so there is a good opportunity for Lucid to retest and go potentially once again to the 5s or maybe higher. We'll just have to sit tight and wait. Like I said, there was a hell of a lot of things happening all at once with Lucid today, but regardless, let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Give yourself a shout out in the comments below if you've been buying, if you've been selling, what have you been doing with Lucid? And I know I've said this over the last couple of videos, my apologies. I am losing my voice, so hopefully you were able to hear me throughout the video. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, take advantage of this promo. It's been extended up until December the 31st. Sign up for an account with Moo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Take advantage of that. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.